Hello and thank you for joining us on the midweek edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Today on the program, police files charges against a big-time kidnappers, Wadume, Captain Bala and others. And later on the show, amidst worsening insecurity, federal government begs United States to quick delivery of Tucano fighter jets. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Utitoju and Mojid Jamiu. So if you are ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for joining us. 6 months after the horror in Ibi, Taraba State, the will of justice to address the tragedy is finally in motion. The Nigerian police has formally filed charges against kidnap kingpin Hamisu Bala, also known as Wadume, over the killing of 3 operatives of IRT in Ibi. In the criminal charge dated 3rd of February, the police slammed 16 counts bordering on terrorism, murder, kidnapping, and illegal arms running against Wadume, Captain Tijjani Balarabe, and 18 others. They were found culpable in the killing of the policemen and subsequent escape of Wadume on the 6th of August 2019. The long arm of the law is finally here. Babajide, we are the vanguard of this justice for the 3 IRT officers who were killed, and at a point in time, after setting up the defense headquarters committee and everything, it went on a low key. We didn't hear anything, but we kept on saying it on this program that we want justice. And now, for the police to file charges against them formally, so justice has taken its toll.
Justice on the way to being achieved. We can't say at this stage that justice is here. We want to see what happens, whether the army will not release its men for trial. That is what we want to see, because I believe that the police have gone ahead to do this as a way of forcing the hand of the army. Because once the case is filed, it is then incumbent on the army to produce these persons for trial. So, and even the judge would demand that the guys are brought before him to be properly tried. So I think this is what the police are trying to do, because what has happened is a very, very, is a kind of dangerous precedent that should not be allowed to happen. It's the sort of thing that should not recur in our history. Some of the best trained policemen went after a very notorious and irresponsible kidnapper. A kidnapper who demanded 200 million ransom from a victim. That victim coughed out 106.3 million. And you still went ahead and killed him. So is that the kind of kidnapper that should be walking streets? So Wadume is the sort of person that should be locked away somewhere. And the IRT guys went there with the intention of bringing him to justice. Only for some soldiers to kill the operatives and then allow Wadume to escape. We said it at the beginning that this was a big scandal, and I did not see how the army could wriggle free out of this. It is impossible to wriggle free. Nigerians are demanding for justice. Nigerians are demanding for justice. Many times people will send me messages, what is happening? Do they want to kill this matter? Will this kind of thing be allowed to happen in Buhari's Nigeria? Because when we have a president who is noted for his integrity, certain things shouldn't be happening under his watch. Yes, the president can't be everywhere. He can't be seen to be doing everything. He has people who are to work for him, who are to work with him. Now, if those people do not want the name of the president to be damaged, and they are truly aides that the president appointed so that they can act as people who will help him to succeed, then it is not those people that should be doing things that will bring the name of the president to ridicule or subject the government of the day to ridicule. That is why we are saying that, look, justice must take its course. And now the police have come out. We didn't even know that there were so many people involved in this matter. 18 of them. Staff Sergeant David Isaiah, Sergeant Ibrahim Mohammed, Corporal Bartholomew Obanye, Private Mohammed Nora, Lance Corporal Korozi Gideon, Corporal Marcus Michael, Lance Corporal Akpagra, Staff Sergeant Abdullah Adamu, Private Ebele Emmanuel, then ASP Aondon Yobe, Inspector Aliu Daze, Awalu Bala, A.K. Omorezo, and the rest of them. This matter,
maybe in the course of the investigating the matter further, some other people,
other kidnappers were nabbed. You know, I'm sure they weren't just working on this guy. Of course, they had foot soldiers, and then, in the course of their investigations, they also discovered that Captain Bala and Wadume exchanged 166 phone calls.
166
phone calls. And that Captain Bala admitted that the suspect, Wadume, once gave him fish worth 50,000 naira. And on another occasion, he gave him 200,000 naira to fix a patrol van that had mechanical faults. I said something at the beginning of this whole problem, that what criminals do is that they try their best to get close to soldiers. If the soldiers are doing these sports within their barracks, they will be the ones to sponsor. They will bring money. So what the soldier would think, what the commander of a military formation will imagine that, oh, this person has always supported us. So when he's in any form of danger, they too will want to assist. But meanwhile, this is a hardened criminal.
Yeah.
So before you start providing support for an individual, you need to know what that guy does for a living. You need to know so that you don't unwittingly. I'm not providing any kind of alibi for Captain Bala, but I'm saying that it is consistent with the habits of criminals to try to cultivate security people, cultivate policemen, cultivate big soldiers, so that the long arm of the law will not catch up with them. But it's a good thing that we are getting somewhere on this matter.
Yes, Mojid, we are moving. We are moving. We agitated for this, and this is like the first step.
Yeah, as I was coming on the program today, I called a senior military personnel who is was my senior in secondary school. And I said, why are you people holding that captain and not releasing him for trial? He said, well, there are two laws in the military. There's the military law and the civil law. He said, when any officer is found guilty, what they do is to investigate him. If they find him guilty, they'll court-martial him. If they are court-martialed and they are dismissed, they will now be handed over to the civil authorities, which is the police for prosecution. So he said, on this particular matter, the investigation has started. It's not sure whether they have finished, but they are not likely to make
Looking at the time frame.
Yes, no, the 6 months.
Since August.
Yes, yeah, that's what he said. He said, okay. He said he's going to find out whether they have concluded that process, because he said the person we are talking about there is, well, I told him there are hard facts. There are, statements, showing that this thing actually happened. Wadume had even told Nigerians, during cross-examination, during investigation, that some of these people are on his payroll, that he pays them, and he gave us graphic details of how the intelligence response team of the IG arrested him at Ibi in his town while they were taking him to Jalingo. These soldiers came on the authority or on the order of the captain, released him, took him to their barracks, they cut off the handcuffs. So I said, what more evidence do we need? He said, well, I mean, these are allegations until they are proven. So they will use the military. So that was his explanation, which I want to believe. That is why, well, the case has been filed, but before the captain and the other military men, before they can be produced in court, I want to believe the military would have court-martialed them and probably dismissed them, because I don't think there has been a precedent where a serving military person would appear in a civilian court, except in very extreme cases. So I think that's what is probably what. Then Nigerians are waiting, they are asking. This matter happened since August. I mean, this is February, 7 months after. Yeah. I think they should the military should speed up whatever they are doing on this matter.
That particularly brings me to that point that if you know something that is as important as this particular killing of these IRT officers, I expect the military court-martial to expedite action. It's not something that we can wait forever. If that thing happened in August, this is February, for crying out loud. So they should have released that captain.
They first sent us on a wild goose chase.
Defense
form of the defense headquarters
investigation.
The investigation by the defense headquarters is a thoroughly meaningless one, because even if he's convicted, even if he's found guilty, that one is not tenable in law. I mean, the investigation conducted by the defense headquarters, it is the court-martial. It is the court-martial that is a legal
military trial.
Military trial.
Yeah.
So whatever the defense headquarters came up with is just meaningless, a waste of time. So because the guy, he cannot lose his commission on account of the defense headquarters
investigation,
so-called fact-finding. The only way by which he could be legally kicked out of the military is through
the military
court-martial. So, because if we fail to do that, he can go to court to say that he was not properly
court-martialed,
he was not properly tried and all that. You know. So, after that, when we've had to wait for them. We didn't read anywhere that the army has set up a team of its officers to handle the court-martial of this fellow. And we know that the army, even in our recent history, they've put their men on trial for all kinds of crimes. And it doesn't take eternity. For example, the soldier who raped those Akungba girl.
It was speedily done.
Very swift. There was a prima facie case against him, and he was put on trial, and in record time, he was released. The other soldier who had a rush in the head and beat up Keke Marwa rider in Abia State, he was also court-martialed. And the army handed him over.
Maybe because of the rank of the captain.
No, it's not a general. It's not a general. It's just...
it's a captain.
No, it's a captain. It's a captain. But the captain rank is not even the first level of senior ranking in the army.
It's from the colonel. From colonel.
No.
Redneck.
The senior rank is major.
Okay.
Yes. Then there is the very crucial exam that they do. The Commander Staff College is for Lieutenant Colonel.
After
you must pass it. If you do it,
before you can,
not even if you do it, you'll get a second chance, and you fail, you're out of the army. That one, Mustafa, that's why Mustafa remained on that rank of major when he was.
The former CSO.
Yes, when he was working with Abacha, he remained on that because he did not pass his command and staff college exam. He didn't pass it. to be elevated to that
Lieutenant
rank, yeah,
Yes.
Lieutenant Colonel.
So it's not a senior. They can't make, you see, it's just a case of looking at this matter. This matter is an embarrassment to us. How do we wriggle out of this? It's not a captain is not that senior in the army.
I think it would be better if they quickly dispense with him. I mean, rather than keep Nigerians waiting. Because from what he
imagine
explained,
that Nigerians will forget.
yes, because it's taking 7 months, and we have hard facts from Wadume himself and the other low-rank officers that were arrested also gave confessional statements. So he has also helped in the investigation, because the military has not come to deny that Captain Bablarabe was not involved, but the level of his involvement and to release him for further trial is what we are talking about now, because we don't want a situation where, well, this case has been filed, the judge will need to give a date for trial or for the proper arraignment, and I know it's going to be big news. I mean, so the military will be doing Nigerians a lot of good by, or rather telling us the level they have gone with the court martial, which is almost inevitable here.
It's inevitable. If they think that this matter will die, it will not die. I'm just looking at them like a bat. I'm looking at them like Fayoshe. I'm looking at them like a bat. If they think this matter will die, it will not die. Nigerians will continue to talk about it, and it will reflect so negatively on the conduct or the integrity of those who are in position to take action and chose not to take action for reasons best known to them. There's no way that this matter will be forgotten.
And to remember,
those guys have families.
Yes.
The guys who are wasted, for serving their country, they have families. So the best way to ease the pain of the people is to let justice run its course. And one way by which justice can run its course is for the soldiers involved in this heinous crime to be released for trial. So when they are released, then they'll face the full weight of the law. No individual, whether you are a soldier, a captain, or a general, is above the laws of our land. And everybody, no matter what uniform you are wearing, you have an obligation to behave in a responsible manner. You have an obligation to behave in a way that is consistent with the laws of our country. You have an obligation to show that, yes, you truly deserve to wear the uniform that you are wearing. You have the obligation. And once you fall out of the wayside, you fall short of the high standard expected of you, the wearer of that uniform, then you have to ship out. So the Chief of Army Staff has an obligation. Because whether we like it or not, it happened during his time.
Yeah.
When they are talking about what Bablarabe did, or other people did, and the refusal to let justice take its course, there is no way that Tukur Yusuf Burate's name will not be mentioned. It's just not possible. History can be very harsh.
And
history can be very harsh in judging people who in other ways, in the discharge of their duties, have shown themselves to be heroes. Okay. Just one dent, little thing.
I have my first
caller. Damage a human being.
Francis is calling us from Ogun State. Thank you for joining us, Francis. Hello, Francis.
Hello.
Yes, thank you for hanging out with us.
Hello, are you hearing me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, on the matters in question, the matter being discussed, I'm viewing the television right now. Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I am a retired police officer. I want to advise the police as regards the trial procedure. Hello?
Go ahead.
Keep talking.
Go ahead.
Don't listen to yourself. Just keep talking.
I happen to witness a similar thing at Imo State. So, at a second time during the trial,
you are very close to your monitor. And
yes, it's listening to
the feedback.
The thing is, one very painful thing that makes this act very despicable is the fact that you can imagine the amount of money spent in training those intelligent response officers. I mean, led by Abakari. A similar thing happened in the case of Evans in Lagos. You see, we should understand that Rivalry between the security agencies is not good for the kind of system, a perfect system we want to run. Now, the police, I mean, apart from the fact that lives were lost, imagine how they were able to nab this, to nab Wadume.
Wadume,
We can imagine the figures read out by Jide, demanding 200 million as ransom, and the person paid more than 150 million. And you still killed him.
106.3 million.
I mean, 106.3 million, and you still killed that person. The same way Evans was collecting dollars, it collected $1 million ransom to the extent that some people are now even paying him for protection so that you won't come and kidnap him. So when we have the likes of Tijjani Balarabe, who is the backbone of kidnappers, and the case is dragging like this, then it becomes very, very suspicious, and it gives more power to other kidnappers who are still lurking out there. Imagine the case of the doctor whose wife was kidnapped with 2 kids. You killed the woman, and you are still asking for ransom on the children.
Those ones are animals.
20 million.
Honestly, it's activities, it's acts like this. I mean, this kind of foot dragging, this is a case that should be dispatched in weeks.
Yes.
Tune is calling us from Abuja. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, Abadi.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, so my contribution to this is that God will have mercy on our securities. They are our problem in this country. Their country are our problem. Policemen do the same thing to people also. So what just means that except justice is being done every day by day, this will never stop. May God bless our country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tunde, for keeping it short. Then, gentlemen, we still have people like Wadume in the system. High-profile kidnappers, but they have contacts in the military. They have contacts in the police. They are very, very influential.
Yeah.
There are some criminals. Yes, there are some criminals. By the time they are apprehended, the next day, calls will come from, some powers that be up there. We'll still have them in our system, Babajide.
That's why in Zamfara, emirs, district heads, and other big people have been identified as conniving with bandits to terrorize the people. Sometimes you have a security meeting, you are planning to raid the den of bandits, and they flee. The Air Force will go to the camp of bandits, throw bombs, bombs that end up not killing anybody, because they have fled. It is the bad eggs in the armed forces that are making some of these things to happen. Because they provide even information about the movement of security operatives. I know that the army has in the past tried to identify such bad eggs who compromise the security of fellow soldiers. I know, I've read that so many times. In fact, even the army, the battle between the Nigerian army and Boko Haram in Malam Fatori, where we lost Colonel Abu Ali, I remember that after that particular incident, the army came out with a report indicating that it had arrested some soldiers that is suspected were working for the enemy. So some people will do anything for money. This money that we will live in this world and go, people will do anything just for money. You have a kidnapper who went with his men, kidnapped a man at his filling station. You got him to release his BVN. You collected 106.3 million from him. And it still didn't stop you from wasting him. God did not design life for it to be as cheap as it is gradually becoming in our country. God didn't design life for it to be as cheap as it is in our country currently. And bandits are showing, kidnappers are showing that they are in charge.
Having a feeling.
Yes, good. That state, Taraba, that's why I fear for them. Taraba is one of the states worst hit by kidnapping in our country. And when they went for someone who probably was the biggest kidnapper in that state, look at how the
thing
thing
down.
was sabotaged. How many such sabotages do we know that have even happened
in the system,
either in Kaduna and other places? So we have to fish out bad eggs. Bad eggs do not deserve to be in the armed forces, either in the police or the army or the navy or air force. Bad eggs, wherever we can identify them, whenever we can identify them, we should not, without delay, we should show them the door. That is the thing. Trying to kill a matter that is as apparent as daylight, it will not work. People will continue to talk about it. This is the thing. It's a good thing that this has happened. But the challenge now is whether the army will willingly
should wait and see.
Allow these guys to be brought to justice.
We'll
so this is the
and the police. I mean, it's on record that the police has also brought their own men on trial in this case, because we have a DPO, a DCO, a station officer, and some other policemen that are also on trial. And
one of them was even on leave when this thing happened.
When the thing happened, so the police have brought all of them from trial. So it shouldn't be too difficult for the military to follow.
The police have finished their own
investigation,
their own leg of the investigation, and the investigation of the prime suspect is the most important investigation of all, because everything revolves around the prime suspect, whether it is Bablarabe's matter or everything revolves around that prime suspect. Since the police have concluded their investigation on the prime suspect, and he has even confessed on tape, it should not be difficult. It should not be difficult to conclude any other investigation related to this matter. And I expect even the police and the army to work together on this matter. But it is, of course, difficult, and you can understand the kind of press release that was issued after this thing happened, literally giving the impression that those guys who were killed did not even know what they were doing. Look at even the language.
Very blank.
The language of that press release angered people. And I felt for Abakari myself. I said, if you are heading a team and they can watch their colleagues wasted in this manner, how do you then motivate them to give their best? How do you motivate them? So one way by which we can motivate these policemen to continue to sacrifice for our country is the effective resolution of this unfortunate matter. And it is the law courts that can make that happen.
Immediately. All right, still to come. Amidst worsening insecurity, federal government begs United States on quick delivery of Tucano fighter jets. Stay with us. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this breakdown. Welcome back. It's still Journalist Hangout, your multi-award-winning program. We're reaching you live from Television Continental here in Lagos. To be desperate due to urgent matters comes with a sense of helplessness. Now, the worsening insecurity in Nigeria is forcing the federal government to take desperate steps. The government is soliciting the assistance of the United States for timely delivery of A-24 Super Tucano aircraft to the country. According to the Minister of Defense, retired Major General Bashir Magashi, who met with the U.S. ambassador to Nigeria in Abuja, the aircraft will boost the air component of Operation Lafia Doli, battling insurgency in the northeast. But time appears to be running out. MJ, they were talking about 2020, I mean 2021, 2022. But the one thing that's sure is that by the time we pay for this thing, it's not something we got on the shelf that we could get on the shelf, and it's going to take a minimum of 4 or 5 years, and we are going through that period. But apparently, because of the worsening and the resurgence of insurgents in the northeast, it's difficult for us. We need air power.
Yes, it's actually manufactured to specification, and this process started in 2016, and the U.S. State Department gave approval in August 2017 for the when Obama was there, before Trump came, I mean, he even refused to sell to Nigeria because of claims that our military has very bad human rights records. But Trump came and President Buhari met with him and they were able to resolve that. So, and you know, it's not even something that Trump can unilaterally approve. The U.S. State Department had to, I mean, the Nigerian government made a representation to the U.S. State Department, which, I mean, they approved in August 2017 for the payment of $593 million for the 12 A-29 Super Tucano light planes. But, you know, the $593 million, Nigeria has already committed $490 million. So payment is not the issue, but like you said, it takes about 3 to 5 years to manufacture. And since the first payment was received in August 2017, this is 2020, I mean, we are getting close. It's like we are very eager to end this. We don't, why we went for this particular, the 829 Super Tucano is because, I mean, they are very light in nature, they are easy to maintain, and also in terms of training of the personnel that will handle it, it's very, very easy. And you know, it flies very low with so much precision, and it's going to actually boost the firepower of our military. And I think about 2 or 3 other, about 5 other African nations do have this, like Ghana, Angola. If they have not received, they have already made. I mean, it's especially meant to police not just the Boko Haram and insurgents, also smuggling and trafficking in the Gulf of Guinea. So it's like a combo of things that we expect this to do. So it's the Minister of Defense had to actually make a passionate appeal to the U.S. ambassador. Please, can you help us beg our guys over there to speed up the process of this manufacturing? No, it's not just something you go to you go and pick on the shelf. Even normal, commercial airlines and private airlines that are private individuals that want to own planes, you have to go to Boeing to manufacture your engine. Boeing will give specifications to Rolls-Royce, who does the engine, while Boeing builds the body and some other parts. So it's a process that takes time. But I think we are in the 3rd year or thereabouts. So by next year or 2022, we should be able to take delivery of some of this equipment.
Well, actually, why are we desperate for this A29 Super Tucano? What makes it a game changer?
Yeah, because it's a sort of light attack, light fighter jet that is durable and very useful for our kind of environment. For example, it does not consume fuel like other fighter jets. So you can actually keep it on air for a long period, you know, and it offers close support to the troops. Another thing is you can also use it as a reconnaissance aircraft, meaning that if you have it, you can use it to monitor the enemy. So it serves not just the purpose of fighter jet, it also serves the purpose of reconnaissance, spying on the enemy. So you can use it effectively for that. And of course, an aircraft, a fighter aircraft, thrives on its weapons and the ability to deliver those weapons accurately. Of course, the Tucano is reputed because they've used it in Afghanistan, they've used it in Mali. So, and it has shown how its effectiveness in the places where it has been deployed. So, its Mi-34 minigun, for example, can deliver 3,000.
On it, inside it.
You know, the minigun is fitted to it.
Okay.
It can deliver 3,000 rounds a minute.
3,000.
3,000 rounds a minute. Is 20 mm cannon can deliver 650 rounds a minute. So these are just a few of the array of weapons that the Tucano has. And unlike some big fighter jets, if the surface is hard enough, as we have in most parts of the Northeast, it can land. So in extreme weather conditions, this is an aircraft that we can use. Unlike some of what we have now, we can actually use it in very dangerous and very unusual conditions during fighting. Things can happen during fighting that puts the life of pilots in jeopardy. But this one is built in such a way that you can actually land on a hard surface. You don't have to go and land at the nearest airfield. You get the point I'm making? So this is one of the reasons why Sadiq Abubakar, the chief of air staff, deliberately went for it. Well, I remember interviewing him, I'm asking, why is it that you did not go for the Apache helicopter? And they told me that, look, recent wars enabled people to analyze the performance of the Apache helicopter. And they recorded that the Apache helicopter was lost in combat on many occasions. So the Apache helicopter, fantastic. You can actually engage the enemy in Ibadan, right away from Lagos, but it can be shot down even by an AK-47.
Flies low.
Yes, as rugged as it looks, you know, it can actually be shot down because all they need to do is identify where it has light ammo, then shoot the area where it has light ammo. So every fighter jet has its own array of weapons, and the Tucano, the qualities of the Tucano make the Tucano the best for us at this time. And then we've looked at areas where it's being used, and we can see clearly that, look, this is the kind of weapon that we have. The truth is, no matter the pressure that our minister piles, they have a schedule.
That's it.
The Americans work by that schedule. There is no amount of pressure that can bring the Tucano to Nigeria before the time that is scheduled to land here.
Yeah.
I am positive that the Tucano will get here. The first set will be released around July next year, based on my findings.
2021.
Yes, based on my findings within and outside of our country. By July, we should receive the first set. And then they will also come with trainers, because the trainers, that is part of the package.
Yeah.
They will come with spears, with trainers, and all that. So the trainers will come from Nevada. The Tucano itself is being manufactured in Jacksonville, Florida, you know. But the people who train our people to use the Tucano, they're actually in Nevada, and they will come in once the first set. All of them won't call, the 12 won't come the same time. Once we release the first set, those trainers will come to teach our people how to use the Tucano. We can only pray that it comes as soon as possible.
Majid, I discovered that before Boko Haram started in 2019, the military, there was a deliberate attempt to, you know, the military was abandoned in terms of equipment, in terms of buying updated equipment. And the discussion I've been having with GDA several times, I've said it repeatedly, that there are some countries in Africa that's the Air Force, the military, what they have and everything. So apart from Boko Haram now, I think there should be a deliberate attempt to recruit our military over again.
Yes, you know, the money for this, for the Super Tucano is coming from that $1 billion from the, I think from the excess crude account. I mean, that was debated at that time. I mean, we need a lot of resources. I mean,
quite expensive.
Yeah, to prosecute.
Yeah,
to prosecute. I mean, war against insurgency and anti-terrorism fights. You can imagine the sting operation, the recent one by the U.S. to kill Soleimani. The drones that were used, I mean, the military, those military drones, costs a lot. I mean, millions of dollars. And you can see the precision with which, I mean, they executed that exercise. So we...
Precision guided.
Yes. I mean, so the Super Tucanos too is very easy to operate. I mean, it's much more easier than the A-10s or the F-16s. And like Jide said, we went for this, I mean, so that it can be easy for our guys, then the maintenance, the fueling, then the weapons. I mean, it's like a total package. The $593 million is a comprehensive payment. I mean, for both training, spares, facilitation, and even weapons. You know, it carries a wing-mounted machine gun, like Jide rightly pointed out. So, and it can go so low, as we can see in the views we have on the screen. It can go low, and it has its own surveillance equipment that can recognize thermal. You know, we can't release more security information here, but I think these are just very good for us. But I pray that they keep to the schedule. But thank God, money is not the issue here, because the first installment that was paid by the government was about $490 million out of the 593. So money is not the issue. And by the time we start taking the first the delivery of the first sets, it will boost our fight against the insurgents. And this particular set, like I said earlier, beyond Boko Haram and other insurgents, it will also act as a surveillance machine for the whole of the Gulf of Guinea. I mean, especially in trafficking of human beings and other vices that is given Nigeria a bad name in the Committee of Nations. So it's a very good development. I mean, we can continue to
we need to
talk to
praise
them.
President of the United States, Donald Trump. Immediately he took office, invited our president to the US, and he told him right there that I will give you the support that you need to defeat terrorism in your country. I will sell weapons to you. Weapons that Obama refused to sell. Not only did Obama refuse to sell to us, Obama also refused to allow us to buy from even third parties.
Yeah.
For example, when America sells weapons to you, they will have a deal with you that you cannot sell that weapon
You can't sell,
to
yeah,
anyone
without their consent.
consent. We wanted to buy Chinook helicopters. The Chinook helicopters could be used for troops insertion and for ground attack as a ground attack helicopter. So you can use it as more or less like a transport aircraft. Where there is danger, you can carry troops. You can also even use it as an air ambulance. We needed it. Obama refused to allow us to buy this thing from Argentina. You know, so even weapons that we also wanted to buy from Israel, Obama refused, until we then had to go and buy the T-72 Russian tanks from the black market in Ukraine, which helped us tremendously before the 2015 election. Without taking back those communities, those local governments, there will have been no election. Because our law clearly says that election must hold in all local governments in the country. That no local government must be left behind. So this is the thing. We were looking to buy even weapons from the black market. What the former CAN president, Olusegun
We had to be carrying cash.
Yes, we wanted to go and buy in South Africa. Because we could not buy this, and you know these things you can't buy
on the shelf.
Okay. So that is at the end of the day, it frustrated us.
Teller from Port Harcourt is standing by. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, I greet you all. Jide.
Yeah.
Look, this kind of issue that we are talking about,
Yes.
Are we going to continue to fold our hands and wait from now to next year when the Tucano will be ready? Are we going to fold our hands? This war we are talking about. Look, I was directly involved in some services of the military. During the last civil war, look, some of the pilots will be in the operation there. They will just say, look, give us 10 minutes. I knew what they were doing. They will just enter the cockpit and take off. In 15 minutes time, they have finished the operation during the Nigerian Civil War. It's just like a joke. And look, let them change these generals. They say, Boko Haram or whatever you call it, will not end. It will not end. That was why they sent Obasanjo to go and change them. And after that, the war ended.
Okay, thank you for your contribution, Tana.
There is something that the president needs to. I think we should have learned our lessons now. For many years, we abandoned the military.
Yeah.
We didn't equip the military. I said something some time ago that if you go to N'Djamena, Chad, go to even the airport, or you go to Sudan, the headquarters, the capital of Sudan. From the airport, the number of ground attack helicopters you see parked on the tarmac, even you'll be afraid.
Sudan.
Yes, you'll be afraid. All of those countries, including even Ethiopia and even Eritrea, the kind of weapons that they have, you'll be scared. The Air Force of Chad now is rated among the top 10 in Africa. Chad, with the support of France, they've been consistently arming the Chadian army. For a long time, we didn't do anything to harm the army, to give them weapons. I remember Colonel Sani Saleh, the former senator, representing Kaduna Central. There was a public hearing in the Senate, and he said that Babangida came and said, look, we don't need a large army in peacetime. He reduced the army. Not only that, the trainings that the soldiers used to go, he stopped them. And then some of the weapons of the Air Force were cannibalized. I once interviewed Air Vice Marshal Issa Doku, and he was almost shedding tears about the way we made deliberate efforts to destroy the Air Force. That is what Sadiq is building now. Some of the airplanes that have been grounded, we are reviving them. Even the Charlie 130 and the rest of them, they are reviving them gradually. Yes. Yeah. What we needed to have done, because if we had a strong army, we had an army like the Algerian army, we have the weapons that they have. Who is Boko Haram now? But today we are stretched because we do not have an army large enough to dominate those guys and crush them, and we do not have the weapons,
the equipment,
the game-changing weapons that can turn the table against the enemy. So this is the thing. So we are stretched by the number of weapons that we have. In America, look at F-35, the most expensive fighter plane ever made. The helmet alone cost $400,000. The helmet of F-35, the most expensive. Even the some American fighter bombers, some of them cost as much as $2 billion. Bombers.
Yeah.
Especially those ones that can carry nuclear weapons. $2 billion for one equipment. Something that can be shot down. So we need to invest in the army.
We have to go. I want to thank you, Moju Jamiu. Thank you for your contribution, and thank you for hosting us day before yesterday when Alaja Afolake Jamiu was 50. Hosted.
Happy birthday to
Alaja. Happy birthday to you. 50th birthday.
Thank you, guys.
We had fun.
Our duty is to ensure that you eternally do not have a rival. Any other no rival is a counter.
No rival.
Of course, she knows that. So.
Happy birthday, Alaja Afolake Jamiu, and Vikio. Thank you. We'll be here again tomorrow, and that's our offering. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch Journalist Hangout on our platforms showing on the screen. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Zubaku. See you tomorrow, and God bless Nigeria.